AI Center. And on my left side, Panagiotis, CEO from ERMOS Technologies, pretty well-known early stage company in Switzerland. And before we start with the session, I would like to use the opportunity to make a short intro about bluelion, and especially what we can offer to AI startups at the early stage. And then afterwards, we will directly deep dive into the funding opportunities that we can offer, 2 programs that we can present, before we then switch to the interactive part and where we have the opportunity to ask all the tricky questions to Panagiotis about his life as a founder and his founder journey and the whole beginning of ERMOS when he started the project at ETH. So let's start with bluelion. So bluelion is a tech startup hub. It's a foundation with the purpose to support tech entrepreneurs. We have been founded by 2012 by the city of Zurich, ZKB, Wengerwili, Swisscom, University of Zurich, and of course ETH. We offer different kind of support to founders, so like programs, like facilitated access to funding, and of course as well infrastructure that we have centrally located in Zurich. So, and as I said before, we would like to deep dive a little bit into support that we have for AI companies that we can offer. And before we start with the funding part, I would like to use the opportunity to present you our newest baby, our newest project. It's an AI Accelerator and Hub based in Oerlikon. So we are super happy that we can launch this project together with the ETH as a partner and collaboration partner, so to support in the future companies like ERMOS even better. And so the good question is, why Oerlikon? So that's the interesting part of it. And the reason why is, not sure if you know, but Oerlikon is becoming one of the leading clusters when it comes up to AI in Europe. So we definitely have a very strong AI cluster there. So we have super interesting organizations all within walking distance. So means, of course, the ETH AI Center is based there. Then we have different scale-up companies like Anybotics, Verity. We have a lot of startups there. Then we have as well international organizations like the Boston Dynamics AI Institute. And that's basically the reason why. So because we have this density there, that we launch this AI Startup Accelerator in Oerlikon. And if you're curious about learning more and better understand what we can do for you, then please come to me after the session. So we are very happy to have a coffee and chat. So now, time-wise, I would like to deep dive into the funding opportunities that we can offer for you as founders within early stage. We would basically like to introduce you 2 funding programs. So one is called klimup, and the other one is Elias. I can present you, or just in a nutshell, the klimup program, and Mauricio will do the same with Elias afterwards. So what is klimup? klimup is a program that is initiated by the city of Zurich with the purpose to support climate tech solutions who can contribute to the net zero goals of the city. We basically support within 3 areas. So the first one obviously is reducing emissions, means direct and indirect emissions. Then we support net emission technologies, and the third part is smart resource management, so that's pretty broad, and I guess most of the AI solutions are within this area. And yes, so what does it mean? What is klimup? So we can support with up to 250,000 Swiss francs non-dilutive. So that's quite interesting in an early stage. And so how can you profit from klimup? So you have to apply. We have 2 application cycles. One is in spring and one is in autumn. And after the selection and when you get the approval, you will receive 35,000 Swiss francs up front. So as I said, it's non-dilutive. And then from then on, you have basically 12 months time to find and convince investors who are willing to at least invest the same amount. And then when you have this, we can match this amount with in total 250,000. So means at the end you will have 250,000 non-dilutive plus at least 250,000 as an investment from an investor. And I think that's quite interesting. Of course, you get free money, at least half of it. And the other thing is it also helps you to become more attractive. Because as an investor, you can share the risk, especially when you invest in this early stage. And it also helps you to have less diluted participation. And we have seen that this can help quite a lot on the market when you pitch to investors. Yes, so that's basically about klimup in a nutshell. And if you are interested to participate, you can apply again after summer holidays. And then you will have a decision around November. So please, let us know when you are interested, and also when you are interested to join our brand new AI Accelerator in Oerlikon. We are happy to give you more information about those initiatives. And now, with that said, I would like to hand over to Mauricio, who can give you more insights about Elias.
Thank you, Urs, for the introduction. For those of you who weren't here in the previous session, my name is Mauricio. I'm an Industry Collaborations Coordinator at the ETH AI Center. I get to work with, Panagiotis from Irmos. He's one of our affiliated startups, and we work very closely as well with Blue Lion, especially now that they are moving right next door to the center. So we're talking about like funding, opportunities, for solutions in sustainability, right? And klimup is, of course, a fantastic program. So I will briefly talk about the other program, which is Elias. And just a quick show of hands. I know we have a small audience, but quick show of hands, like who knows what Elias is? More or less. I'm not surprised. So Elias is actually is built on top of this existing academic alliance that we have in Europe. It's called the European Laboratory for Learning and Intelligence Systems, which you might say, wait, that doesn't spell out Elias. It doesn't. It's actually ELIS. That's the alliance. Elias is built on top of that. Elias is the European lighthouse of AI for sustainability. As you can see, the acronyms, they love to make them play off each other. But it's a fantastic alliance. ETH is, of course, the hub, the Zurich hub. In total, there are 34 hubs in Europe. And it's, as you can imagine, it's meant to, sort of like open up the entire continent to research. It incentivizes researchers to move around. And in the same way, Elias does the same, but for AI use cases, AI startups, more, apply tangible solutions. So if you want to think about it, Elis and Elias, basically the same thing, but they are really trying to establish Europe as, a leader in AI research and innovation, right? So what is this like funding opportunity that we mentioned? As you can see, it is a non-dilutive grant of up to 60,000 euros. If I understand correctly, it's a revolving sort of like call throughout the year. And it is essentially meant, sorry, next one. Yeah. So it is essentially targeted for AI solutions in sustainability. I know that sounds kind of vague, So they actually, if you go on their website, they have like the guidelines, what use cases are let's say allowed to apply. But they have, for example, use cases in AI for building optimization, responsible user-centric advertising, and AI for forecasting of vegetation state. So this is just a few examples of the many that they list on the website. So if anyone here is a founder and focuses in sustainability, definitely check it out. It's, as Urs mentioned, it's free money. It's a non-dilutive grant. So definitely check them out. I will be around, of course, if you have any questions about Elias, the grant, everything. So thank you for allowing me to talk about Elias, and yeah, I'll let you get back on it.
So thank you very much, Mauricio. I think it's both programs are quite interesting when you are in this early stage as a founder, especially also the network. So with Elias, you have a broad network of all those tech universities behind in Europe, and it also helps you to get access to other markets and other places. So that's definitely a good opportunity. Yes. So and now we'd like to deep dive into a founder's story. So the interesting story of Irmos Technologies and Panayotis as a CEO and co-founder behind it. Mm-hmm. So thank you very much that you're here today.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Urs and Mauricio. It's a great pleasure and an honor to be here. I'll try to give my best to give you as much useful information as I can.
So I'm sure that you can help us and share with us some secrets. And yeah, so I would like to start with your personal story as a founder, and as well with the early stage when you started Irmos. So for me, you are a typical kind of Swiss deep tech startup company because you started as a spin-off, right? So from university, you have been a researcher at ETH, and so why have you chosen this not easy way or path as a founder instead of becoming a successful researcher?
That's a great question. Thank you very much, Urs. I think everything started from the fact that I didn't do my PhD directly after my studies. I worked as a professional engineer for a couple of years. So I got this practical perspective. So when I did my research, I always tried to find a solution. And then the biggest problem with research, from my perspective, is that you get feedback in very few points in your life as a PhD or as a researcher. And this feedback can only come from practice. And this is what I tried to do during the time as a researcher. And then at some point I realized that I cannot keep just creating research for research. I want to have an impact. But I didn't know how. At the time, I didn't even know what startup means. And then ETH offers a lot of tools. Also, bluelion is, at the time at least, it was not directly connected to ETH. And these programs allowed me to zoom out a bit and see what does it take to create a business. And this was actually my path. So I would say my initial intuition that I need to have a product that solves a problem, and then the ecosystem helped me actually find a way to make it happen.
Yeah. Okay. And how was this transition? So from researcher to successful entrepreneur. So we hear from quite a lot of people that it's nearly impossible. So I think So how do you think about that, or what was for you the most difficult thing, especially at the beginning?
I believe one very big challenge at this stage is really to find the right team. And you need funding to have a team. So it's always the chicken and egg problem. How can I persuade people to join me, and how can I make sure that these people get paid up to the point where we start getting some traction?
Okay, and so we are very lucky, of course, that you once have been in our program. And when I compare your pitch that you have right now compared to the early pitch or the first pitch you have done in our program, so there is a big big change, and so especially at the beginning it was hard for me to follow as a non-tech person. And yeah, how could you recommend something to other deep tech startup companies? How did you make this transition? How was this possible for you?
Well, to be fair, also sometimes it was a struggle for me to follow my pitch, so I cannot judge you about it. I think a very important skill for a founder is to be coachable. You get feedback from different people, and they will tell you. They will have a lot of people telling you contradicting things. You need to do this, you need to do the other, you need to speak like that or the other way. You need to find a way to navigate through this feedback, to accept this feedback and absorb whatever you agree with, up to the point that you start getting people persuaded about your solution in 2 to 3 minutes. It's extremely tough to nail down your story at the point that you can explain what you do very shortly and very clearly in a way that people think that it's a no-brainer. Every breed should use the sensor of Firmos because this is the infrastructure you use every day. It's too old. Somehow we need to find proper diagnostics. So you need to have to keep things simple, but creating simple things is difficult. There is this Redewendung that says, I'm writing you a long letter because I don't have time to write you a short one. Summarizing things in a short way in the efficient takes time, takes a lot of energy, a lot of iterations. So you need to be able to accept this feedback, but at the same time treat it as a data point and not as the ground truth.
Oh, that's definitely very important because we hear that quite a lot. So especially in the beginning, you have so many different opinions, so many different recommendations, and it's definitely hard to find out which one is valuable and which one maybe leads you in the wrong direction. And when we come to the funding part, so for me, you guys, you were, I can say, definitely very successful when it comes up to raising grants. So do you have somewhere a secret sauce, or what was your way to to raise grants successfully?
Well, I wouldn't call it a secret sauce, but I can tell you what I feel was different about us, especially at the beginning. It's we started by getting engaged with clients, starting doing projects, consulting services, anything that could connect to the future product, but already proves value to our clients. Clients that were eager to pay. And this already stood us out from many other startups that didn't have it and helped us get the first small grants. And then it was like a snowball. You get the first ones, then you build some momentum around it. There are more programs. There maybe some programs are structured in a progressive way, like Venture Kick, for example, or like Klimup, where you get the first rounds and then the second one. So it's very, very important that you get this contact to clients in order to stand out from the other startups that do not have it.
So you would definitely recommend to go out of the building as soon as possible, talk to potential clients, customers, to understand the market, the needs that you have outside there.
I'll be a bit more aggressive there. Even today, when we go to a client, we don't try to pitch the product, the platform, the sensor. The first question we ask is, can you tell us about the worst breeds you have right now? What is your problem? And then we start from this one and we try to bring value to this specific project. And then as soon as the trust is there, then it's way easier to start talking about a scalable product. So it's not about really trying to push a product, it's really understanding what is their pain and see if you have any tool that can help mitigate this pain. Yeah. This would be my secret sauce.
Yeah. Okay. And was it difficult to stay focused? Because as an engineer, I guess you can solve every problem outside there. And that's what we see quite a lot, that companies, startups at the beginning, that they have difficulties to focus on the product and not to chase all the different opportunities out there.
Well, it's difficult to say no. If a client comes with a problem, they need a solution, they're eager to pay. Even if it's not your main focus, it gets very, very difficult to say no to a client that is eager to pay you for something. But for me, startup journey is like an accordion. There are phases where you need to open up because you don't know that this specific path is the best. And there are phases that you really need to narrow down. At the beginning, we were really opening up. We did different things, building bridges, Switzerland, US, Germany, and Greece. And now we're at the status that we know where to focus, and we really now started saying no to projects that could be very profitable, but not scalable or not aligned with our mission and our vision for.
Okay, and would you say is this also right now the perfect time to switch from grants funding to professional investors, so to execute an investment round?
Exactly, yes. This is where we stand right now. So we're in progressed discussions to close our first investor round. At some point, you have received a lot of money from grants, but it takes time to apply. It's not guaranteed. You cannot really do a budgeting based on the assumption that the grant will fly. And the bigger the team gets, the more money you need. So there is a limit where I believe closing an investor is the right time, not only because of the money, but also because experienced people that have grown companies, they know what challenges you will face before you face them. And this is exactly where we stand right now. I think that this point comes naturally. At some point, if you start evolving with grants and with clients, you reach the point that you understand that this is the right way to go. For us, it took a while. But somehow this point finds you. You don't really need to to stress it too much. Yeah.
Okay, and so you said so all of those applications and grants. So that's quite time consuming, and so especially when we see at impact programs, so like Klimup or Elias, so there the impact definitely plays an important role. And how did you, or was it difficult for you to prove that you can contribute to the climate goals, for example, of the city of Zurich, or just to do something good for the climate? How have you done that?
When we applied for Klimup, it was the first time that we needed to really express the sustainability impact of our solution in a quantifiable manner. This was a big lesson for us because from where we stand, it's clear that we have a positive impact. It's extremely tough to demonstrate how you can actually save the environment if you just prolong the life of existing infrastructure. And this was a challenge that took us some time to figure out how to communicate things. And then we turned back to our clients and asked them, look, what if we proactively, also beyond saving you money, we demonstrate to you how much tons you saved. And then with the help of our clients, we managed to do this, to formulate actually our impact in a quantifiable manner. And then we used it further. We did further applications where impact was a very important part of the application process. So this thought that we put, this time that we invested, paid well. So it literally paid well with the successful grants and programs that IRMOS was accepted.
Okay, and did you have support or professional support concerning impact metrics, or how did you manage that?
We don't have professional support on defining these metrics. First of all, I want to say that for us, the biggest effect that this impact-driven venture brings to our company is that people want to work for IRMOS because it's an impact-driven startup. And this helps a lot. This saves us money already because people are eager to... They find us. We don't need to spend a lot of time to find good people, impact-driven people for this. Quantifying now the exact KPIs, this is stuff, there is a lot of documentation out there. Again, we try really to do it in an organic way by figuring out ways that would make sense for our clients. Because at the end of the day, the point is that impact-driven startups help the regulations to get established. So we want to work with regulations that are important for our clients. And every time we have to report something for a grant or an application, we try to figure out how this reporting would also make sense for our clients at this stage. So this is always our driver, our prism, let's say, when it comes to reporting sustainability.
Okay, so that's quite interesting also to see that that you always try to stay focused and to focus on creating value for your clients. And so how do you see the ecosystem in Switzerland? So especially what can we do good for you guys as supporters? Where do you see can we support you as best as possible?
I think the ecosystem in Switzerland is really amazing. So we see around what happens. There's so many ways to get support. I believe that the only thing that I would different if I were at your position or to a position of Finoswiss, or I don't know, somebody who can really affect things, would be really to engage founders of successful and unsuccessful companies into coaching new founders. We founders really, when we have a question, the first person we ask is a successful or unsuccessful founder 1 or 2 years ahead. They know the best, exactly what we need. This is the network that is important for us. And I feel in Switzerland there are many, many brilliant people that made it or didn't made it. And building a community around this, I think, would be very, very effective for younger, but also not so young founders. Because literally this is what I see really working in practice.
Okay, and and when I look from outside at your journey as a founder and as a startup company, it looks like a hockey stick, you know, so without any challenges, issues, problems. So is this the case, or did you have challenging times as well?
We have challenging times as well, and it's, I mean, it's never an actual hockey stick. Things progress well. I mean, I have to say that operations-wise, it almost goes well. We have a fantastic team, but there's so many blind spots that you find out on the way that, keep you enough busy, not even to understand actually the growth of the company. But there are many, many challenges that have to do with things that you never would imagine that would come up with the team and the technology growing. So I'm very happy that our marketing is good, that we give it the right impression to the outside, but inside, of course, there are a lot of challenges that take a lot of stomach to solve. And this is another skill that founders really need to have in order to stay for the long run.
Okay, so thank you very much for all of those informations. And so now I'd like to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions to Panagiotis. And so I think that works with the microphone, right? And yes, so please feel free to ask at least one tricky question. So if you have some.
Okay, I'll get us started. So you mentioned that you were able to successfully apply for these grants, and you received some of the money that kept you alive, let's say, in the first stages of the startup. So how do you draw the line? When do you decide it's enough to we kind of focus on keep applying for these grants, and we need to maybe focus on something else? Or is it something you actively decide, or does it come to you? How does that usually work?
In our case, this came very natural in a way that at the beginning we were literally applying everywhere. So literally everywhere in order to get traction with the grants, get some money, get visibility. And then at some point, you just don't have the time. And this is the point where you realize that if I invest the same time on acquisition, I might actually get a project for the company that will bring money, will bring also another testimonial, potentially possibility to scale. And this is where actually, again, it depends. There are grants that are really, really big and then it makes sense to invest the time, but there are smaller grants where, I mean, also I would say, you reach the point that it's not fair to compete with much younger startups for a small amount that would really matter to them, and for us would be a noise right now. We're 10, 12 people in the team. You can imagine how much money we burn every month. Now we compete for 2K, when for another startup, I remember the first time I won my first 2K, I was happier than the time we got 1 million. Happier, literally, because it was the first time somebody literally believed in us and picked our business case among others. So I want to say that this point comes naturally, and it has to do with time management and with respect to the community and the startup ecosystem.
Thank you. Another question?
If there are no questions, I will ask questions. So, who has a startup here? Okay, then it's coming. Get ready.
Did you try to apply for impactful investment fund when you needed to secure some funds?
What do you mean with impactful in?
Impact investment funds.
No.
No, just normal investment fund.
Is it a specific program, a specific foundation, or is it
orchestrand, like responsibility, such funds? Because it's sustainable.
Klimup is one of the funds of the grants that really support sustainable solutions. So I don't know if this counts on what you have in mind, but generally, yes, we applied in many programs that framed startups that have a sustainability impact. Obviously, these programs are very broad, so we got selected together with startups that do completely different things than what we do. But yes, because we have a clear impact on the safety and the sustainability for infrastructure, we'll always leverage this impact to apply for programs that had this filter. Are you considering applying in such a program?
No, I'm interested. I'm finishing my sustainable finance degree at University of Zurich. That is why.
Fantastic.
I know how does it work, and it takes some efforts. And also, then, do you need to fill some reports, like SDG reports, etc.?
So far, we didn't have a case where we had to do reports that were too lengthy or took us too much time. Especially with Klimup, the process is extremely smooth and to the point, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
Some more questions?
Thank you. Maybe to follow up on this question, normally as a startup you have a data room, right, with all the sheets and business KPIs and so on. And I'm wondering, do you see a trend that you also need a data room for your impact assessments? Since I know quite some investors who want to see data and even an LCA, like a life cycle assessment of your product. What's your perspective? Do you see more interest in this kind of data, or is it still very vague?
I think there was a lot of interest up to December, and then for obvious reasons, things changed. But I wouldn't say you need a data room just for this. But if you have a document that starts with what we prepared for Klimup and then you elaborate, this is how we have an impact, this is our unit economic, this is how it scales up, and this could be usually the way we communicate. This is, with this grant, we could get so much more impact because we can scale faster. This is a very clear way, I feel, to demonstrate what the impact of this grant or funding would be on scaling your business, not only financially, but also in terms of impact. So you need a mechanism, you need the unit economics, and then we have a document that is part of our data room And then for investors that are interested into this, we always include it in our business planners and attachment.
And are private investors actually asking for it, or is it more a grant requirement?
So far, few investors asked about it.
Thank you. And I guess you had a question, right, before Panagiotis. Who's the founder here?
I saw you. So maybe you can tell us your experience with funding or what stage you are, and then we could exchange a bit on this. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So yeah, I'm co-founder and CEO of Wasteflow. So we started the project in the ideas to help sorting facilities to sort better and safer the waste that they have in.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started the project from EPFL, from a lab in EPFL at the very beginning. So received a lot of non-dilutive funding at the beginning, a lot of grants.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking up a lot of time, but we started with that, and in total, so far, I think we have almost 600,000 of non-dilutive fundings. So I mean, it was a great experience, and I think a necessary tool to start a project, because without that, it's very complicated, and at this stage it's impossible to reach out to VCs and other private investors, at least much more complicated. But then in the second part of it, so during the beginning of this year, we started fundraising, official fundraising through business angels for 900,000 at that point. And yeah, this is basically where we're at, and we're still applying for non-dilutive funding such as EIC or SIP, for those who know.
Mm-hmm.
It's Swiss or European programs, but which are taking a lot of time and very hard to get also. So yeah, as you were mentioning before, I don't know exactly where we have to stop and I mean focus on operations, acquisitions, and start generating organic revenue. I mean, this is the question where we're in right now. We have to choose our focus, and it's not that easy because even when I look at this, I want to check right now if it's a possibility for us, if we're not too late. But I mean, at some point we have to focus on organic revenue, which is the essence of a startup.
I think the best way to, as long as this desire is there, you see, I mean, this will be always there, but at some point, as long as you start talking to clients, and this takes time to build the project, especially when you don't have to do with the customers, but with businesses, then as soon as you see the potential, that's not only money, is actually, it can be a game changer for our story to investors if I close this client. So you can see way more potential out there than just getting 60 or 70K, which you should definitely apply. I will also check it out myself. I'm just kidding. But important is really do not undermine your exposure to clients for this.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I mean, it has been a primary focus for us from the very beginning, trying to
But the
work with
ecosystem is
customers.
brilliant.
Yeah,
The ecosystem is, if you're lucky enough that you get the traction from the beginning and then the domino grows up, you can go really far. And then you get in a better position to negotiate with investors. So this was the path that we took.
Yeah. I think that's what comes necessarily in the end. We have to go through VCs, but yeah. Well, thank you. It was very interesting.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Do you have a question? Not at all. So, what are you doing? Are you a startup, investor, ecosystem player, or any of you? I don't know. Last question, I promise. I don't ask more. Yes, feel free.
So then, what is your expectation on a VC or on an investor beside the money? So what is important to you next to the money?
Very good question, because it's also something that it's very active now for us, that we raise money. Investors, in the first place, they need to understand our business, and they need to adjust their expectations to what our market actually is expected to absorb in the coming years. Practically, this means that they need to leave us control. They need to leave us control because we have proven that we can have a significant traction. We know what we're doing. So investors that come directly with a very aggressive position on control, even if their goal is to step back later in return of other compromises, this is for us something that shows it's not the right direction. So trust is very important. And then we need investors that can help us grow the company in a way that it becomes from a startup to a company. We see that every month the company changes because it's different to managing 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 people. The dynamics change completely. And every month we identify new blind spots. So ideally, want to have to do with people that have grown business. They have seen actually what it takes to be at this stage, and do not just expect us to report on KPIs we promised 6 months ago when we started fundraising. These are the two important things. Now, if it comes with connections for exposure to client projects, internationalization, these are bonuses. We know that we will run the show, we will do the acquisition. But if investors have LPs that can literally help us grow to other geographies or to market sectors that we could not approach based on our network, this is definitely a huge plus.
And do you find these kind of investors in Switzerland or where you are located in Zurich? Or are you thinking you are forced when you are going to the next step in the scale-up phase to look more abroad? What is your feeling?
Well, I don't feel very competent to reply to you, given that this is we haven't raised 3-4 rounds to tell you this is what happened there. I believe that investors from Switzerland have a very good reputation. They're well connected. I also believe that the company should not really be very aggressive going to the US very fast, because my understanding, we have been exposed to the US, is that if you do this move, you need to do it on full in. You cannot do things remotely. It's very difficult at this stage. So right now, I feel for a company that is at pre-seed stage, seed stage, at very early stage, it's important to have a strong investor with a very good reputation among founders that can prove that, yes, these guys really helped us. And yes, we found investors that have this good reputation, and hopefully they will confirm this reputation in the coming months with us as well.
I hope that too. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Panagiotis, and I think we will come slowly to an end of today's session. So again, Panagiotis, thank you very much that you gave us all of those valuable secrets and informations about your journey. And thank you for joining the session. As I said before, you're welcome to have a coffee with us, ask more questions. So we are here to help. And especially when you run an AI company, then yeah, I think you're at the right place, right? So you are close to ETH, you're close to us. And please, yeah, come to us. We are here to give you support. So thank you very much. Hope you will enjoy the startup days. And so I would say see you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice day.